Hi, this is Neil Hogan. Today we'll be working on a Travis Picking style piece called Grandfather's Clock. This is a song that goes back to the Civil War, I think. And it's an example of a song that has a very simple melody that we're just trying to combine with an alternating bass line. The melody, of course there are lyrics, my grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, all that stuff. The melody a really good idea when you're going to make a finger-picking arrangement to have a very clear idea of how you want how the melody goes. The chords in this song are just C, G, and F. In the case of this song, the C's are played normally with your first, second, and third fingers. All of the G's, you really only need your third finger down on the bass note because, first of all, you're never playing the fifth string as one of the bass notes on G, and your fourth finger is occasionally going to play some notes up here, but it's never going to include this high G that it would normally be on when you're playing a G chord. So all the G chords in the song can really just be played with one finger, but you're going to be adding in some other notes with all the other three fingers at various times. The F chords, it's really important to learn to play F when you're finger picking with the bar and only two fingers, not using your little finger. So your second finger plays the A on the second fret of the third string, and your third finger plays the F, which is going to be our second bass note here. So you don't have anything on the fifth string, and the fifth string should be dead anyways, because we're not going to hit that string. You can't strum this chord because of the note on the fifth string. It's going to sound lousy. But your thumb is going to, on the Fs, your thumb will be alternating back and forth between the sixth and fourth strings. So this particular fingering for F frees up your little finger to play additional melody notes, which will happen in this song. The only other note it's going to need is a D on the third fret of the B string. So most of the measures consist of three melody notes. And the first melody note is always on the first beat, so it's always going to be a pinch with the first bass note. The second and third melody notes are usually going to be played on the ands between beats 2 and 3 and beats 3 and 4. So the pattern, if I was just playing the same note over and over, would be this. So we'd be counting that 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So in each measure, you've got, in most of the measures, there's a few that are a little different, but in most of the measures you have a pinch and two other notes that have to be played. So we start the song with just two open Gs, leading into the first full measure of C, and in that measure the pinch is a C, followed by an open B, and another C again. So I usually have people take a look first at what measure am I talking about? I guess it'd be the fifth measure, which is what I was just playing a second ago, to get the feel for the rhythm. And the only thing that has to happen in the first measure that's different than that is the middle note is a B. So all the way through the song, your right hand is playing that same rhythm. Now we change to a G chord, and the three melody notes are D, C, and D. So that would be this. Now it goes back to C, and the melody is E, F, E. So that's going to be. Then in the fourth measure it goes to F. We land on this little F, this big F, this slightly altered F. This is also a good chance to bring up another really important concept in fingerpicking, and that is when you're playing chords and fingerpicking, you can afford to put your fingers down in the order you're going to play them and not have to slap them all down at once, which kind of increases the possibility of screwing one of them up. So when I go to F here, all I need at the beginning of F is the bar for the bass note and the A. And I don't need this next bass note until after that, and I don't need the D until after that. So I'm not going to come out of my C chord and try to do this and put everything down there at once, because there's a good chance that something's going to come out buzzing, or anyway, again, bad things happen when you try that. Instead, when I go to that F, I'm going to get these two first, then add my third finger, then add my little finger. So they all go down in the order that I'm playing them. Here's how that looks from the C. Look at that, I had plenty of time to even like fool around and miss the note a few times. Let me try it again and see if I can get it better this time. Anyway, that's the most efficient way to finger this chord, and a really important concept in guitar playing in general is this hand has to be working your fingers independently rather than slamming them all down at once. They really need to be going down one at a time in the order that you need them according to what you're going to play with your right hand. So continuing in Grandfather's Clock, the next measure is back to C, which is 3 C's, and then a G chord, again my one finger G. I need to use my second finger to add the A on in the middle of it, and then back to a C. In this measure of C, and a lot of other measures coming up later on in the song, there's only one melody note. It would be written as a whole note in the music. So we're just going to pinch that melody note and finish the bass. And the bass has to stay exactly in the same time that it's been all along. So here's that whole first section to Grandfather's Clock. Now I have a first ending and a repeat. Now second ending, taking me to the next section. Staying on a C chord, to a G chord with a different pattern. Measure of G that had different notes in it had 4 melody notes. So in that measure what we did was we pinched the first one, pinched the second one, pinched the third one, and the fourth one came early on the and before the fourth bass note. So again, that measure would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then into a pinch. So that little sequence done a little bit quicker mostly in fingerpicking, you want the melody notes played between the bass notes. We call that syncopation, or having the melody syncopated, as opposed to having all the melody notes played exactly the way you would sing the song. That would sound something like this. Was having all the melody notes played on the beats. Obviously it sounds way cooler to have the melody notes played in between the beats. Now we've brought some life and interest to the melody. So that's a great song to get started on, playing melodies in this Travis picking style. They can sometimes even be dressed up a little fancier. That'll be a later lesson. Thanks for watching, and enjoy Grandfather's Clock.